Time to talk business, thanks to our partners Forsyth Barr. Stocks in commercial real estate services in Europe have been sliding overnight. Investors there are weighing up whether AI disruption will cut the amount of office space that's needed, because get rid of the workers, AI comes in. Who needs them? Garth Bray, host of Herald Now Business, is with us live. Garth, good morning.
In the office, in real life, actually, not AI, aren't we all?
Yeah, you're really here.
I'm really here, okay. There we go, proof.
Yeah.
I think we've done that before.
No, we haven't.
Maybe we won't do it again.
I don't think we will. I had to say it's Valentine's Day. We could go further, but let's not do that. So the real estate services, this makes sense to me because if you don't need staff in an office and AI is doing that work, then you don't need the office space.
What's been happening, okay, you've seen tech stocks really dragging markets down, particularly even overnight. Cisco, the same thing. Same thing happened last week with, your Xero software as a service companies. Bit of selling in those because they thought, hey, AI is going to come and eat their lunch. The same kind of thinking has now come for some of the companies that handle commercial real estate. This is the likes in, some names that maybe won't be so familiar unless you've been in London, like Savills, British Land, but Cushman & Wakefield, JLL, CBRE, they all have local operations. They've been hit double-digit drops, in some cases, in their stock price sort of over the last day or so in the US, and it's flowed through to European markets as well. I guess, that's the problem, right? They're saying, hey, that's the calculation, maybe we won't need as much office space. But we here are seeing almost the opposite. And there was some data out of CBRE, one of those companies, saying actually in Auckland, the vacancy rate this week, it's fallen for the first time in 3 years, 3.5 years really, December quarter, December half. And this is kind of, I guess, an interesting trend. We're sort of bucking that trend, or are we behind that trend? We've got all this extra office space and commercial space and hotel space coming online in the next little while. The City Rail link, they've just done the busway deal. The proposition here in New Zealand seems to be, no, we still think there's scope to grow. And then you take a look elsewhere, you look further down the country to places like Queenstown. I actually want to bring you a little clip that Anne Gibson, the Herald's property editor, she had an interview with a chap called Dom Fleischl earlier this week. Let's have a listen to what he's got to say about a development in Queenstown.
We'll be at full capacity from a manpower and resourcing perspective very late next year with 230 to 250 workers on site. So we've got a good amount of time to plan for when we have that housing demand. The early construction works and enabling works is about 8 to 10 months. And then the 2-3 towers is about a 2-year program.
And what sort of, are we talking mixed use or just commercial or what?
$2 billion development. First part of it is 3 towers. I think there's a hotel, there's a couple of apartment towers. This is, hundreds of jobs there you're hearing about. This is what we've been talking about, like the prediction that we're going to see a pick up in drop in the unemployment rate, pick up in employment. This is, they're going to be moving, I think, 16,000 cubic metres of dirt and schist to get at it, hydraulically digging into the hillsides there to make it happen. But this is I guess,
Great.
We're pushing in the other direction.
Yeah,
so,
great. I mean, well, who wouldn't want to live there?
This is the thing.
You don't want to be in some London office tower. You want to be there, don't you?
Location, I think they call it real estate.
Hey, Val Property back in the court this week. What's going on here?
Interesting story.
The Val Group, I should say.
Yeah. Interesting story there. So this is Maria Slade, the property editor over at Business Desk, trotted down for this one. So this is the story of a former employee of the company who successfully got court orders in the UK against Val to the tune of £666,000 worth of damages and costs, and has come to the court, or had lawyers come bring an action here, to basically get that judgment recognised here, so that they are, or he is basically sort of first in the queue for any kind of very unlikely payout down the track. Now, it's you can't directly enforce that debt because a company that's in statutory management, there's like a bar on taking legal action against them. So this is kind of like a bit performative, some people might say. But he's basically asking the court to preserve his rights. This chap, Stuart Goodfellow, a lot of bad blood, I've got to say, from reading the piece between him and the founders of the company, Kenyon and Charlotte Clark. Apparently they put him up. He lived with them during the pandemic at some point. He's an IT contractor. fair bit of juicy detail. Probably best if you take a read through the story and absorb
right.
that for yourself. But
Love a bit of juicy detail.
yeah, the judge has reserved her decision in that matter.
Speaking of juices, they'll be flowing for Valentine's Day, of course, and there's a meal box that My Food Bag's putting on.
And this is covered in our small cap wrap this week on one of the sites, which is great. Takes a look. It's My Food Bag, you know, one of those smaller stocks. This is them basically trying to make a pitch for more sort of thematic, you know, meal kits to try and recapture some of the glory of the past days with My Food Bag. So I think they've got a Valentine's Day dinner for two, $109.99 for a nice premium eye fillet and a chocolate cake.
But you've got to cook it still.
Well, you know, but these are
It's Valentine's Day.
it's the gift of love. Yeah, there you go. I made this for you, kind of thing. Maybe whatever. The thing is, they're also chasing these other trends, like the GLP ones. You know, your Ozempics and your Wegovy's. So they're
What's an empty box?
producing
There's dinner.
smaller portions, more protein, which is probably really good for their costs, but also good for their creating a GLP-1.
Well, interesting you say that, because the protein, I've been looking at these little meal kits and, you know, that have come pre-made. I'm not going to make it myself, but this is for like lunch.
Yeah.
And trying to get a high enough protein delivered in a meal kit is actually not easy.
Yeah.
So I would like to know exactly how much protein they're putting in there.
Well, you'll probably be able to check their AI chatbot, because they're running one of those as well to help streamline the operation and ask and handle it. Maybe they can get you, just hearing about your butter chat this week, maybe we can get you a care package of bread and milk and cream and butter.
No,
to
that's
sort
the
it all
last
out.
thing I need, Garth. We need meat.
Carb package.
No, we need red meat. Lean red meat. Good to see you as always, Garth, and happy Valentine's Day.
You too.
I actually think it's tomorrow, isn't
Yeah,
it?
we'll get in early. We'll get our flowers in early.
Tomorrow, yeah. Very good. Thanks, Garth. That's Herald Now business host Garth Bray, and we talk business every day thanks to our partners Forsyth Barr.